take it all though. Lighting up on my blunt. She don't like when I front. Kiss the lips on her face, lick the lips on her arm. Give you just what you want. I don't wanna rush and say that this is love, but I feel it when we touch. And I'm hoping that you feel it too. 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 I don't care that they watching. Free love don't happen often. Life's too short to be cautious. Cross my heart, love a promise. Million people had to find me here. Don't let go, now pull me tighter, yeah. I got down my favorite fragrance on. I feel your tongue trying to take it off. My body's a little numb. Feel the motivation. Kiss the lips on my face. Lick the lips on my Put it up in my lungs. I don't wanna rush and say that this is love, but I feel it when we touch. And I'm hoping that you feel it too. Hoping that you feel it too. Hoping that you feel it too. Hoping that you feel it too.
Hey duties, this is the third project of this like little kind of white product kind of scenes I've been doing, and so the first one was the, what was it called? Capture Turtle and the Nevia. Third one I'm doing is Cell Care, and this one should be fairly simple. I kind of already set up the scene a bit, and then I decided I should probably stream it. So I've kind of set up the scene. I'm going to replace the object, but I was doing just testing the materials to see if getting the effect that I wanted. But I just need to basically swap up the geometry, and I might do a bit of layering with textures, because I have to kind of mix the subsurface scattering with glossy material. So, yeah. Can you please make some beginner tutorials to Cinema 4D? We love to watch that. The reason why I don't do that many beginner tutorials is because the information's already out there, and it's also not that interesting for me to do beginner stuff. I like doing product stuff and kind of the niche that I'm in. There's plenty of like channels that do generalist beginner tutorials, and I just don't think I want to go that direction. It sounds very bland. I may do it in the future, but at the moment it's not really my vibe. So I need to swap out this object. I don't think I want to delete it. I can probably just edit it. So I'm using the, what's it called? The Capture Turtle project. Since I've already kind of set up the scene and everything, there's no point in just redoing that. And then I'll just edit this to kind of what I'm looking for this new one. So this new one will be bit of a mix. Well, not a mix. It's kind of similar to the Nivea one, but it'll be pink and just slightly different. It's basically just a third filler project for me to add on. And yeah. Is that one playlist that I was on? I was playing it just now.
Got it, job on it. Did I ever ask you to take me to go shopping and bury a girl? Drape me in Gucci, no. All I ever asked was you to pick up the phone when you alone. All I ever asked was you to show me some love, kisses and hugs. No, I never had an issue. Go to the club with your boys, baby.
Cool, so I think that's the object we want for the bottom. And then the top, kind of like a curved lid. So just need to pitch this down. I'll probably fix the axis point later, like so, and then just curve the top out, which is kind of simple to do, like a DS. If you claim you want me, it ain't no that. You acting kinda shady. You ain't been calling me baby, boy, you can go stop playing games, playing games. Thanks, dude. I don't even know how to say your name. Gooms. Gooms, Jewins. I had a question about coaching the other day. Not the other day, it's today. And the last coaching spot literally got taken yesterday. And I can't take anymore. That is unfortunate, but I'll be sure to post if spaces kind of open up a bit. The last one was literally taken last night. Someone was asking. I think that's the shape I'm looking for. It's not perfect, but it doesn't really have to be. I think the top part I'll just squish it a tiny bit. so. And then maybe as well this one. Okay, then a bit taller. It could be the compression on the camera as well. Maybe if yeah, I think it's the camera compression which is kind of making it not look what I thought it was looking at. And I think that's all we need for our objects. The rest should just be materials. I'll turn down this resolution to maybe 700. And I can turn this to 1. And then I think this needs to be thinner. Is this a creation of an existing brand? Yeah. So I'm using a reference image, which is kind of what I'll base this render off of. And then, depending on how it goes, often about halfway through, I start to find better ways of making it look than the actual reference, and then I go off it. Cool, I think that's good for the object. This will be our lid.
Now do you wanna know what I'm thinking right now? Swerving down peak, oh girl, I'm coming right now. I'm obnoxious, I'm sorry. Touch it soft, but I like it raw too. We done enough talking. Take your time, let you do what you do. Call me when you're lonely. Call me when you need somebody. You do it for your man and not just anybody. And I got you.
We will go cylindrical and scale it down.
And I got you long as you got me.
And I think here we'll drop this down 0.5 and then add 0.5. Maybe go up to 1 here, and then I can just increase this if I need to. I think that's where I want it though. Maybe a bit more, 0.8. And I also want the reflection on this to be pink-ish, or do I want the lights to be pink? That's the question. I think the reflection will make pink. Something like that. Top light I think I'll turn off. And I don't like how you can see in here, so I might just edit that a bit.
Destiny with angels and my demons on my shoulder like Chicago. Feel like I done struck the
Tabs.
bottom of your shoes make a nigga think you pyro. Used to have
I love saying that name. This part. This part. I think maybe this can go tiny bit lower, tiny bit down. And then I might been some things I only share with you and not my fellas. Call me to stop through, get you off like hop. take all of these and maybe even push them up rather than down.
And I got you long as you got me. I got you long as you got me.
I think that's kind of what I was looking for, except this I still want to go lower down. So this can still drop.
And when to listen, kind of love when it don't change. If I'm natural with extensions, I got you. I heard some rumors, I'm just hoping they ain't true. Been living good, but it get better when I'm with you. You should know I'm tweaking when I say I'm through. You the only one with my focus. I'm the
Kind of there, maybe, or even more. I think it is dropped. It's just hard to see that it's dropped from this angle because of the materials and all that. But I want to watch a beginner course to C4D. There is a lot of tutorials out there on beginner Cinema 4D tutorials. There's channels dedicated to it. I'm pretty sure if you search beginner C4D, you would find something. I don't want to do beginner tutorials because I'm just going to be remaking what's already out there. I might do like a full course in like product rendering that may also be able to be learnt by beginners, but it's not going to be specific beginner tutorial. The lines on these things aren't really straight, they're kind of breaking up, which I don't really like. I want them to be actually straight lines, not these scratches. And I'm kind of thinking if I should, what I'll do about that. I think it's fine. I think I'll go 0.6 here. Okay, so I like what's going on here, except I want it to be just glowing the bottom of the bottle. And I'm also curious if I take this thing and drag that down, what it'll do to the lighting. So instead of making this like a filled object, if I do this, see, it's affecting the lighting. I want this to be inverted, so I want this dark material to be at the bottom, and then that light material to be at the top. I could cheat. I think I'll cheat. I think if I do the exact same concept, but from the bottom, it should give the same effect. So this probably isn't what the bottle would look like in real life, but who cares? So it should, if I do this, I should get the same effect that I want. Yeah, that's what I wanted. Cool. Then I think I can delete this. Oh, not that. This. I can extrude that out a bit. Like so. Then I'll just add one more subdivision here. Push that up a tiny bit. And just do that. That's kind of what I wanted. So that's very strong. I'm sure in Photoshop we could deal with a lot of it, but camera, I think it's time we fix. I think I want this to, let's see, go up and then point down. Back a bit, down. I think I'll have the camera quite far back and then render out a high resolution image again. Then I can just crop in Photoshop if it's too much, it's too far zoomed out. Gives me more room to play with afterwards. I think this needs to be a bit more purple. So in here we go 270, and yeah, I think that's fine. So I'm going to layer a material on top of this, or kind of gradient off so that it kind of fades onto the bottle, and then I'll layer another one on with the actual text. So for the first layer, let me just close that. For the first layer, we can go gradient V, and just bring this up a bit and then up a bit. So this will be our first blend, and this can be our bottle, or I should call it plastic. Then this will be our glossy. Glossy goes on top and then replace. Something like that, but I just need to tweak it a bit. So the white can drop down more, even more. Slide that way. Then this glossy here will have a similar material, 276. Then on top of this, then we'll layer the actual text layer on top of that. But I think this should go higher, like 30. Ooh, it's too far. 20. 10? 10 is good. And this section here still needs a bit of tweaking. I think I'll drop this down to 5. 4%. And it's still not exactly what I'm looking for in terms of the look here, but I'm sure with enough tweaking we'll get there. I think I'll just make this extrude a tiny bit lower as well. Lower that, and lower that. So I think recreation of projects will be good for a portfolio. That is pretty much most of my portfolio is recreation of products. I think it'll be good so you can learn how things are done. It's the same as having someone come to you and say, can you make an image like this? except in that case they're hiring you to do it versus you just doing it on your own. Clients will hardly ever try and, how do I say, explain the project through verbal. So they'll just say, hey, these are the kind of images we like, can you do something like that? And it's the exact same thing that you would do if you just recreate it for portfolio. So yes, I do think it's good. It's better than having a client come to you and you're not sure if you can do it. It's better to know that you can do it in the first place. And then also, if they do come to your page, they know what you're capable of. If they see you can do all these different projects, then they feel more comfortable contacting you as well. It would show those skills, but it's just basically showing that you can do all that stuff. Obviously, they can ask if you've made everything in particular and what sort of things you've done, and then they can kind of judge what your skill set is. But the main idea is that it's just what's the word? Not social proof, but it just like proves your abilities that you can do it. I kind of want this extrude to also come up the sides, but that could cause issues, and it's not. I don't think it's going to do what I'm picturing in my mind. This cat's attacking my chair. Okay. This also needs to be a bit more purple. 270. Cool. So I think we're actually quite far away there. The ripples, I'm going to do like the ripples on the floor, and I'll just import that from a different project. What does this cat want? Okay. And that light in the background, I'll either Photoshop it out, or I can probably use an Octane tag to get rid of it off the floor. Where is this texture? So since I mapped this on the other project, I'm pretty sure I can just take this, make a new material, and it'll map pretty accurately to what I had last time. I haven't really changed the model of the tube in any really big way. This is called Cell Key. Assets. Okay, I'm just gonna go let this cat through the door. She's gonna start attacking my leg soon if it moves too much. Cell Key graphic. Oh, it's Cell Q, lol. I've been calling it Cell K this whole time. That's fine. So we'll change this brand from Cellcure to Cellcare. It's our new brand. So if I go and apply this, it should be mapped quite well, and then I can obviously just micro adjust it. So I can just go fit to object, refresh. Let me delete the other objects, otherwise I'm just gonna get confused. This one. It's gonna crash. Yep, fault band coming. This music is very pleasant, but it's also kind of not really motivating. I think I'll change it a tiny bit. So let me delete these objects again, and then just apply that same material. So now it should map pretty decently. And if I go fit to object, Okay, so this needs to be stretched sideways in the width, so 500 should be good enough. That didn't do anything. Let's do that again. Or did that do something? So also want to make sure that this is using the right material. Cell K. I think that looks right. So now we can delete all this. We don't need this anymore. And I probably should keep everything for now, actually, since I know the width of stuff. So I'll just create new text here, call this cell cure. You recently started doing a render like this. Interesting. My whole portfolio is basically just remakes of some kind of product. It also depends on what you mean by remake. Like, are you going to try and design a new product? If not, are you going to try and design a new advert? I guess it's useful to be able to creatively come up with projects that have never been done before, but it's rare that a client will not know exactly what they want and give you all the full creative freedom, and they also want you to not make something that's been made before, and they want you to come up with something completely new and rare. That's a very rare thing. Ugh, just got a shiver down my body. Okay, so this will be texture A. Let's just make sure our thing's not getting stretched or pulled in any direction. I think we need more width here, so I thought I changed that to 2.5. There we go. Okay, and then tiny bit bigger here, and then where's my text window gone? Character. Don't know why that's gone. Then I think I'll make this thing taller, so 125. Okay, that's too tall. 115 or 110. Let's do 110. Okay, I'll make it slightly thicker and then squash it a little bit. So here I can go 95 and then bold. Okay, so that's graphic A. I think I'll rename this to graphic A. And then, so this is our previous layer. Then on top of that, we will layer a material, which will be our text. Put the text material and that on the bottom. Then we'll use our just created layer as a mask to filter out the text. Because I want the top text and the bottom text to be two different colors, so I think this is a good way to do it. It's okay. So that's kind of what I want. It's kind of hard to see, but with Photoshop, I'm sure we can bring that out a bit. Then the bottom text, so this will be, let's also delete all this stuff so it doesn't create an unnecessarily large file. This will be graphic B, and then this will have our text stuff at the bottom. So 760. $100, $100. I don't know what to call it. Essential Express. And breathe radiance through your skin and feel younger than ever before. Cool. This actually should be on a separate layer. And we'll check what the actual sizes should be in a second. I think this can go bold and then bring that up. Okay, let's check the scale. So we need another mixed material. This is probably not the most optimal way of doing it, but it works for me. So now we just go copy here. The nice thing about this is that you have full control over every single element of your textures. It's not really that necessary. You could kind of do this all in Photoshop, but okay, this needs to go closer this way. Or is that the middle? So this goes down, and then this goes closer that way. Save. Do you just guess the size of the label? If you're talking about the Photoshop documents, I generally start off with like a 2K resolution base, and then I apply it onto the object cylindrically, and depending which direction the graphic is stretching, I'll just adjust it that way. If it's stretching too much in one direction, I can just add more pixels in the opposite direction, or in the same direction, whichever way it works, and then it should stretch less. So it is kind of guesstimating. There are ways of getting it 100% accurate, but no one's going to notice if it's 90% accurate versus 100% accurate. They'll be looking at other things, not the accuracy that your graphic is applied to the object and stuff like that. It just saves time doing it that way. So I think this is pretty good where it is right now. I think we need to change our font because this doesn't have enough thickness options. So we'll go with that. And then the essential text Maybe we should actually go in the center and change this to... That might be fine where it is. I think I'll just make it a tiny bit smaller. And this text that I typed out seemed like it was a lot longer than it is, but I guess it's not. Okay, then I'll just move everything a tiny bit up. And I think this still needs to go smaller this way and this way. Okay, so this text can go thicker. Lots of medium. This is a constant kind of back and forth testing, but once we get it, then we don't have to touch it again. And I think this we also need to make a thicker text. So Roboto medium. Then once I'm happy with this, I can add a line underneath and let's increase this since this will probably be zoomed in more. And then just so this doesn't look weird, I'll make it a bit smaller so the text fits in there. Cool, I think that's kind of good enough. Doesn't have to be perfect. Isn't there a... There we go, black. And I can probably extrude it even more. Make it thicker. But you feel the spirit, whole flow, shine light, so glow. Every lyric sing cold, so most po, favorite nine light rondo. Are your coaching programs open to everyone, or would you have to be an intermediate level of Cinema 4D and Octane? It is open to everyone. I would preferably, you know, some sort of Cinema 4D. Otherwise, I'll just be ending up directing you to beginner tutorials. Depends on like your level, your knowledge level. Also depends on what you define as beginner. You may be thinking that you're a beginner when you may not necessarily be. Why is paragraphs? I thought here just paragraph. I'll just add some sort of texture. That's 2019. That's Aura 2019. Aura.2019. And then maybe do that. See what that looks like. Yeah, so to carry on answering the question, it is open to everyone. but it's also is kind of targeted towards the more intermediates / advanced. Otherwise, it'll just be directing you to like manuals and beginner tutorials and stuff like that. If that's what you're fine with, then that's fine. But I don't really teach how to press certain buttons and certain softwares and stuff like that. The chances are you probably not are a beginner if you're watching this, or at least the beginner level that I'm talking about. I'm talking about people that like just started using Cinema 4D and stuff like that and don't know where buttons are on. Okay, 2 more words and then I think we're done with this graphic. Uh, 60. I need a new headset because my ears are starting to get sore already. I think these headphones are 3 years old. I take good care of my stuff, but it's starting to wear out on me now. 5.27 OZ. Just make up random numbers. We'll say FL.OZ, whatever that means. And then hopefully it should be kind of what I want. So maybe I'll move this way a bit. And this. Squish in a bit. Okay, this I'll make a tiny bit smaller, maybe 40, and then thicker. And I think that text is fine. I might make it a bit thicker, maybe bold. This as well. Bold. And I think I'll switch back to this. And feel breathe radiance through your skin, feel younger than ever before. Let's go 31. There we go. Give us something a bit more condensed and not hyphenate. Okay, let's try 32 again. 30. Okay, I might hyphenate it and then go 31. Kind of looks like there's a spelling mistake now, so I think I won't hyphenate it, and I'll just try and find a suitable size like that. New wave. A wave of new accidents. That sentence is not actually written the best way, but as long as it looks like it's full there, then we're good. Then overall, I think push this text up. Cool. It's gonna swap out the lights for something softer.
That's facts. Big blue bills in the bank, let's chat. I just hit a mill like a baseball bat. I just bought 100,000 out the glad pack. I'm a big deal like my name all caps. That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. Go upstream with a sea slate flat. All my checks got my name on the back. That's facts. I'm $1 million nigga, money chick.
Let's go 40. I think just 40 there. And maybe just move it a tiny bit. That way, just go 1000 in brightness. Okay, then the other lights will just be a bit brighter. Duplicate. One 2,000, 1,200. Okay, higher. 1,800. Even more. 2,500. And also shift it this way. Then I think the lights should be either taller. I think maybe move them up a bit. So up here. And maybe go 30. Okay, then this we can drop the roughness 0.5, 0.2, and don't want to load this or not, I don't think so. I feel like something's changed that I didn't intend to change. There's no reflections on here. That's interesting. What if I put this up to 3? Let me get rid of this light. There should be a reflection here. Last render I did was a compilation of elements and other images from Pinterest board. But I still have to finish the labels. Well, that's pretty much kind of what I do sometimes. Just go on Pinterest and find renders that look really, really good, or like product images that look really, really good, and you try and remake them. I'm pretty sure there should be a reflection here that was there and now isn't, and I'm not sure if something in the scene is blocking the light or... Maybe it's not long enough. Let's go 50. Problem solved. Well. Okay, now I can reduce this back down to what it was, 1.3. 1.6. Yeah. And this might also need a tiny bit of roughness, 0.1. go 2 and 0.2. So now we have kind of control over every single element of the texture, and we kind of can control every single piece. And now things start to look a bit blown out, so I need to adjust things. So this is our BG light, and I think I'll drop that down a bit to 25. And then also our glow light, which is basically just lighting up the bottle from the back. I don't think that's what it is. It's doing that. Let me remove the floor. This I might need to drop the brightness to 80. And trying to decide, I think I'll move the lights around a bit, so just a slight amount this way, and I think this one is fine, maybe a tiny bit. Am I just moving the same thing I just moved? Yeah. Then this one a tiny bit. What am I doing? This one. Slightly that way. I can feel a crash coming, so I need to be careful. Okay, this can drop 75. Cool. Then we don't want this glowing lights to show on the floor. It's just meant to glow the bottle, so I'll comp that out here. And then the environment. Something about this bottle is throwing me off. What is it? I think this bottle is not tall enough, which I'm scared of adjusting, because then my textures can start to stretch. And I think I need to adjust this layer as well. Just push that up a bit. Then the plastic needs less transmission, maybe 85. Or is that too much? 90. 92. Then the scene, I don't want this background light to be so wide, so maybe I'll go 40. And I should probably comp out the background and do it in Photoshop. But the camera angle still needs more changing, so go down a bit and then up a bit. Then I think I'll go closer as well.
Niggas ain't stunners. I'm the one that came and fucked the summer. I got a black Barbie, she into Minaj. I'ma fuck her all night till I come nothing. Sip got me buzzing. I am not a husband. I could be your daddy cause I am a motherfucker. Fuck niggas.
This light I will drop down to 2.2. I can feel a crash coming, so I'm making sure I save every now and then. And then I also want to still shift it to the side. Can you see how this light's inverted? This light should be shining on that side. And I had this happen before. I think I just remade the HDR, which I don't think I want to do. Did you study anything? How did you get those skills? Looks dope. No, I didn't study anything. Self-taught. My studio lighting plugin is called HDR Light Studio. They should honestly pay me back for every client I send them, because I've sent them quite a lot of people to buy their products. Look at your ass, fuck a career. How you make a G-string just disappear. She like buy me other shit. I need back. This one, maybe this light on the side here. Width 45. Might even go up to 50. Width 50. I think if I put HDR Light Studio in all my tags and stuff, then it'll pop up in the feed if you search HDR Light Studio, and then they'll notice. And then they'll come and thank me, and I'll get validated. Okay, now it's time to add in the droplets of the floor, and I am speaking like this for no reason. So this scene I want to be a bit different. I kind of want the background light to be a bit closer to the subject, like that. But that's kind of intense and too focused. I could reduce the brightness, but that's not really what I'm going for. Maybe I should bring the curve of the background closer and wider, so this can go like that. Just need to be careful here. Yeah.
What the fuck though? Where the love go? 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go. Wow, get the fuck though. I don't bluff, bro.
Okay, I can bring this up again. 20.
What the fuck though? Where the love go? 5, 4, 3, 2, I let one go. Wow, get the fuck though. I don't bluff,
Make it smaller on this size. 35. Bring it up again. 25. That's kind of what I want. I don't like how there's shadow on the floor again. I need to... What is causing the shadow? It might be the HDR, right? I guess I could Photoshop it out. Shadow. I'm not sure how to get rid of HDR shadows alone out of the floor without removing the lighting completely. With the lights you have more options, but the actual HDRI is less flexibility. I might need to render out a second pass. So this is kind of getting close to what I wanted. This product still looks... I think it needs to be a bit taller. Tiny bit taller. I need more space here. So I'll firstly move that up a bit, because that's kind of where I wanted that. Then I will need to stretch it up and resize one of the textures. And then once I've got that texture down, I'm just scaling it up a tiny bit, it's not like the end of the world. So I can just do just a tiny bit up this way. And the problem starts. What have I not selected? Oh, it's just the mapping of the texture, so I can push it up a bit. And then fit to object, and then children. So now here I need to add a tiny bit on the height, 100. And then I need to do the same here. And then hopefully everything's back to normal.
Is my crew on? What are you on? We've been uptown cruising in the Yukon. Got a couple girls on my living
Cool, but this background light still, I want it to shine more towards the product, so I duplicate it and then shine it this way.
sushi or Italian for a bit. I say sake bombs. This is something we agree upon. Later on, Uber on to the bar. A hand full of cash and a brain full of stars. I'm more thrown than a food fight. Feeling too right. Margarita by the poolside. Wow.
Kind of getting what I wanted, but maybe more direct light, like 12. I think I just undid what I did. And now I don't know where I am. That's where I was. Okay, let's undo the other background light. I should probably stop focusing on this reference and maybe just kind of do my own thing. So, am I adjusting the right thing when I do this? I don't think I am. I think I was adjusting this. Yeah. I don't know why I don't just look in the live viewer like an idiot. That's kind of what I wanted, and then I guess the background I can Photoshop out, so that I do not want. ID3, ID4. Get rid of 3 and 4. Okay. So I'll go ahead and do some passes for this. Cellk. What is Cellk? Where is Cellk? Renders. I think the stream disconnected for a second there, but we're back. Hopefully. ID6 will be our pass. Hopefully this actually works. Otherwise I'll have to render it out again, and that will be annoying. Do I consider HDR Light Studio a necessity for product rendering? It's not mandatory, like you can do product renders without it, but it does make life a lot easier, and because you can light with more control, it will make your renders better just because you have more control over your actual lighting. But it's not mandatory. It's not like you're gonna die if you don't have it. It's the same as like having Octane render. Like you can get photorealistic renders without Octane or Redshift and stuff. It just takes more time and is harder to do. Therefore, you create better renders with something like Octane or Redshift or Arnold. Just because it's easier. I do recommend it though. It's not that expensive, considering it'll probably give you better high-paying work if you can make better work out of it. This texture's still bugging me, but I think we can just live with it. I think that's our camera. So, floor ripples. Floor ripples aren't exactly the best, but it's good enough. It's not as kind of natural or photorealistic, but that's fine. Till it's all over. $15.80. 80. What's going on over there? Interesting. Okay, our scale is clearly off by a lot. There we go. Then I need to go close this one and then start up this again. How come I did a separate logo for the bottom half and the top half of the label? Just 1 second. Because I needed the top to be light and the bottom to be black. So I needed a mask for the top one, and then put a white material underneath, and a mask for the bottom one, and put a black material underneath. Granted, you can just have one texture with the same text, and the text white and the text black, and have one mask masking the whole thing. But I tend to sometimes like to use this as my actual text color, because then I can, in the future, if I want, just make it metal and do stuff like that, rather than having the color being controlled by the diffuse of the Photoshop texture rather than just a separate material. And that's kind of why I did that. Oh, God. So I want this to stand out a bit more, so I don't really want any intense reflections on it, so I think I'll drop that down by a lot. And then I might even make it, it is already an offset white, but maybe even further. Okay, maybe higher again. And then the floor ripples, let's just make sure our scale is correct again. So let's go 1, and then 75, 75, 75. Lower, 25, 25, 25. Yeah, I think that's around what I'm looking for. Don't crash. Oh, Christ. Yo, I need to sleep. What I've been doing for the past couple of weeks is not healthy. Okay, I need to do the scale again, but at least I know what I was doing. This was 1, that was 100, and this was down to 25, 25, 25, and then I'll move it to where I wanted, around there. Then cool, that's our first ripple. Just thinking, maybe I'll make the ripple, this ripple bigger, so like 40. Then I also need to go and make the size of this bigger. Then I want multiple ripples in this one, because I'm a rebel. So I'll put this here. And then another one here. So we got 3 ripples going. They're not the best looking ripples, but they get the job done. Then I think we'll call this ripples. Is this the ripple structure? Yeah, ripples. Make a separate one for the other 2 layers, and then just reduce the strength a bit. Cool. I wonder if I can create a shadow of this product going down without really messing with any lighting in the scene. So overall, I think things are kind of where I want them to be. I just need to tweak these lights a tiny bit again. Still a tiny bit bright. But the background I'll probably end up photoshopping at least that whole section out. So this dropped down to 2000, and I think the other light can go down a tiny bit as well, maybe 800, and then see. This might drop even more. 800. Drop this down to 700. And I'll probably end up just boosting the exposure in Photoshop, so what I'm doing is kind of pointless. This ripple in the middle, you can see there's a bit of an error going on here, because the ripple is kind of going into the object, so I might... And now it's not showing anymore. Oh, there it is. I think that was just a reflection of the... Anyway, it doesn't look good, so... This one. Do I recommend any websites for freelancers to find clients? I think Upwork is the only one I've found. I tried Freelancer back in the day. Freelancer was horrible. But when I was kind of starting out, I used Upwork. Downside to freelancer websites is the clients you're attracting are clients that are trying to find the cheapest work they can find. So you generally won't find high-paying jobs on there. And there's also like 50 other people signing up to them, which in reality, in the real world, you're kind of competing to 100,000s to millions. But if you're on Upwork, you'll actually see a number 50 and you'll think, oh, that's a lot. It's actually not as much as you're actually competing with in real life. But that's for freelancing. Finding clients is a different story. But for freelancing, that's the only one I've found that was decent. Am I editing the right texture? Or not? I change this to white. Okay, I am. Change this to black. That should dip down. Then I think that's a mess. Maybe what I'm looking for is this 0.5. Or I change this back to 0 and I move the product up a bit. So maybe 0.05. kind of still am getting these ugly reflections here, which is not what I want. I want like let's see, can I get rid of the reflections without getting rid of the diffused lights? What light tag is this? Number 3. Oh, it's the glow light that's reflecting. So it's number 2 I'm trying to get rid of. That's what I'm looking for, but if I turn this off, then the actual glow inside the bottle also disappears. So it might be best to try and remove it here. Add these back in. Okay. And then do the same. But now what's reflecting here is this light, number 4. Not number 2. Here we go. Yeah, it's tricky. This is yeah, I think that's what I'm looking for. But I think it's about time I just put it in Photoshop, see what I can do with it, and then make adjustments in the C4D file if I need to. I actually don't want this to be a purple, I kind of want this to be like an offset. What's the word? Almost going more into the red area. Maybe 280. It's kind of going more towards pink now. Maybe even darker, so 70. Is it playing 2 different versions of the song? What playlist am I on? It's just music that I've picked up from different places, either from the radio or if I'm like at a bar or something. Just Shazam it and then you heart it and then put your phone away and then you end up with a playlist eventually.
Something that you never seen, and I go anywhere I want to be.
20.
Real big ball of shit. My friends really on some ball of shit. Court side, that's the only time I'm on the bench. So close that the coach trying to put me in.
So what am I adjusting here? I think I am adjusting the wrong thing. I want it to be thinner, but it doesn't appear to be going thinner here. So I want a thinner light, so like 10, and then can increase the brightness again. I just don't want the light to be so spread out like it was. More focused in the middle, which I might have to change the light for 16, maybe down to 5. But that's kind of too much. Let's do 80, 100. Let's go 20 here. Ooh, that's a lot. 10. Let's go 15, and then I can angle it slightly more towards the background. I'm gonna Photoshop all this section out, so I'm trying not to pay attention to that, but I think I'll change this back to 16. I think 16 is good enough. Maybe I should just undo everything. Cool, let's render it out, see what we can do, and then make adjustments if need be. I still don't see this thing kind of bumping down like I was expecting it to, because there's actually a gap here, I believe. That's not really picking up in the render. It's probably the lighting. Okay, now that's noticeably too high. 0.1, leave it at 0.1. Okay, and then I'll just check what this looks like at full screen. Maybe there's textures I need to adjust. I don't think so. I also need to be careful of how I edit the Photoshop file. I need to do it in a non-destructive way, so if I want to change the text later, I can just swap out the render. I forgot the leaves. How did I forget that? I was meant to do petals. I think we'll do petals now. And I think I'll be a sweetheart and make a new one instead of just taking one out of a project. Because I'm such a great guy. And magically, you have a leaf. I think we need, maybe I'll put subdiv there, and subdiv there, and then I think I just got rid of the middle one, so add that back in. Center axis, and should see if there's a high resolution texture. I've noticed Polygon, especially for tiles, don't really have high resolution textures. They go up to like 3 or 4K, and when I'm trying to, like today I was trying to do this client has like a body dryer, and I was putting it in like an interior bathroom, and then went to close-up renders, and I was trying to get like high detailed tiles for the wall, and polygon textures only go up to like 4K, which means if you're really close you start to see all the flaws. Prefer if it was like 6 or 8K, so it's like crystal clear. That's just an annoying thought that popped in my mind today. Now the issue of getting this thing photorealistic. So we'll have our glossy layer, which will do our reflections. And I probably shouldn't just copy paste these things in because they're not exactly accurate. And I think I'll just use a bend deformer to do a lot of the bending work for us, instead of doing it manually. So go this way, give it this, and rotate 90. Give it one subdiv, and also make sure that there's no deformation. Are you going to listen to my tag, or are you just going to do nothing? Oh, I think it's the corner points I'm supposed to do that with. Okay, as I was doing, we need a specular map, and the lighting isn't really great to check what the actual visuals are, so I'll just plug these in mindlessly for now. We need a translucent layer as well. So this is our leaf glossy, and this is our leaf diffuse or translucent. Paste that in, and we can kind of copy paste everything in here. Transmission. Let's bump this up to like 10, just because I think that's what we'll need. Ugh. Then I think I'll just do a basic mix, nothing too intense. I think that will be good enough for our leaf. We'll see. This leaf is kind of big, I have a feeling though. But we can scale it down. Why does it feel like it's facing the wrong direction? Almost like this is the back of the leaf, not the front. Which is kind of funny. Maybe I can just shift it this way. Oh, I'm such a genius. So this should be the front of our leaf now. A bit of an error at the back there. But anywho, Scale it down. And let's see what we can do about our texture error. And it's gone magically. Okay, this leaf doesn't look the best, but I think with enough Photoshop and maybe some customizing of the actual bitmaps, we can do something about it. I want this thing to have more of a leaf shape though, so I think I'll undo this bend. Let's just get this back to the floor. And I need it to bend in 2 different directions. I might do this part manually. I think I'll do it manually. It's probably just easier to do it this way. So I kind of want something like this. And then if you look at an actual leaf, let me just get rid of these 2 dots here. If you look at an actual leaf, it's not flat. It kind of goes up like so. Up like so. But if you really want that detail, you'll notice as well a little pointage here where it goes up quite a bit. Kind of like so, and it probably even folds in a tiny bit. But that's also kind of hard to map out properly. But that's kind of our leaf. Materials in this thing aren't that great. I can feel another crash coming soon. Let's pop in an HDRI so I can see what we can do about our materials. How do you get clients? Oh, how to get clients? That's a very complicated topic, and it depends on the individual and what they're kind of looking for, kind of clients are looking for, kind of work they're trying to get into. It's not really I can't really give a general answer of how to find clients. You have to define a lot of things, like what kind of clients you're trying to find, things like that.
Before anybody held my name up high, before the host took time to call my line, I was hustling and stayed up on my grind. I was
This thing looks stretched. I didn't think about that. I think if I move the actual geometry, it stretches the texture because it's kind of mapped. Ooh. That can cause issues. I want it mapped to the outside, but this inside here, not necessarily. Maybe I'll get rid of these 2 lines and then see if there's another way of doing this. Maybe I can stretch them in instead of out, so push a bit out here, and then hopefully stretching in isn't as noticeable. So here, and then push up a little bit. Okay. I don't know why this is happening. I kind of am streaming, running a lot of intense programs and 3D rendering at the same time, so I shouldn't complain, but it also shouldn't be crashing the way it's crashing right now. It should have valid reasons for doing it, not just random errors. So now, how much of that did it just undo? Okay. See, that's a lot less noticeable. Now it's not stretching as much as it was. Let's push it up a tiny bit, and then I think... Okay. Now the texture, I think I'll unplug these defaults. Kind of go for something more of what we're looking for. So I want the glossy material to be reflective. I think that's fine. Does this have a normal map? No, it doesn't. So I'll give the diffuse a normal map as well. Then let's do them one by one. So this is subject A. Let's just rotate this HDRI. It's still not really that reflective, and I'm not sure what's going on here. Boyfriend! Let's also get rid of unused textures, because these might be filling up RAM. Uh-oh. Let's get rid of them in a different way. I think I just deleted stuff I needed. Let's delete them like that. Okay. Okay, and that's what if I get rid of the diffuse? Okay, so it's reflecting normally. In a normal map, that looks kind of accurate. But I think that should be inverted, so I'll invert it here as well. Add that in. This diffuse leaf is not that pretty. I think I can just color grade it in Octane rather than making a separate Photoshop file and dealing with that. I want this to be more pinkish purplish, and I also want it to be not as saturated, so maybe drop that to 0.5, up it back to 0.6, a little bit of gamma rays. I want to drop the gamma and then raise it again on top of the drop, so 0.8. Is it me, or does the bottom of this leaf look reflective and the top not? I also wonder if it's because it's not, doesn't have thickness, maybe that's why the textures aren't appearing the way I want them to. And more problems are caused. I do think this looks, let me undo this and see. No, it might just be placebo effect. I don't think it's actually making it look better. Yeah, I don't think it's actually, though it kind of feels like it is. It feels like it's adding more depth, but that just might be the shadows of the actual texture. Let's raise this up to 0.5. So this I want to be black and white, so change that to float, as well as change that to 1000 and embrace a crash in case it comes. Though let's get rid of that. So this should be doing something. There we go. Does this thing actually have a... No, I don't feel like going to make a displacement map. Let's just not think about that for now. So now we need to go copy this over to our translucent as well. Maybe bump this up to 5. Okay, keep it at 1. Then let's put it back in our scene and see what we can adjust until it works. But this is starting to look better now. Ugh. When I apply a transparent image on Octane textures, transparent parts just turn black. It's because you haven't changed the texture type to alpha. Ugh. Okay, I think I need to exaggerate this extrusion here more just so we can see it better. And I think this thing will be at an angle and so far away that you won't even see any stretching and stuff, so I should honestly just place them where they should be placed and then fix things that need fixing instead of trying to fix them before the problems are even there. So this will go down to 800 again and then kind of place these leaves where I would want them to be. So let's first find the floor height. Then scale down maybe 10%. Another 10%. Cool. I'm tired of hearing this song. And this song. Let's just skip. Oh, those are good songs. Not that one. Not that one. This one. Why is this thing bending so weirdly?
Astro. Yep.
Sun is down.
Freezing cold. That's how we already know. When it's here, my dog will probably.
I don't really like how whenever I deform it, it kind of moves it around.
I tried to show him.
There's probably a solution to that.
Yep.
-1.
I tried to show him.
Okay, let's save it because I can feel like it's going to crash as I start to drag these things around. I think I want this. Where's this button now? I feel like an idiot right now. I can't find it. Where is this button? Found it. Oops, I just closed that. Instance. There you are. They're still kind of too pink. I thought I made them more purple, but I guess in now the scene. Maybe 0.2. And then I have to do it here as well. You can just copy paste. And drop gamma to 7, 6. Problem is I have to do this on both textures. Maybe I should just replace this and see. Point 4. I think I'm going the wrong direction. Well.
She's in love with who I am. Back in high school, I used to bust it to the dance. Now I hit the FBO with duffels in my hands. I did have a Zan.
That one's the one I'm supposed to be editing. 1.4.
Like a light, slept through the flight, not for the night. 767, man, this shit got double bedroom, man. I still got scores to settle, man. I crept down the block, made a right, yeah. Cut the lights, yeah. Pay the price, yeah. Niggas think it's sweet. It's on sight.
And then
Nothing nice, yeah.
one more somewhere further in the back.
That's what I like, that's what we like. Lost my respect, you not a threat. When I shoot my shot, that shit wetty like on Shaq. See the shots that I took, wet like on Book, wet like on Lizzie. I be spinning valley circle blocks till I'm dizzy. Like where is he? No one seen him. I'm trying to clean him. She's in love with who I am. Back in high school, I used to bust it to the dance. Now I hit the FBO with duffels in my hands. I did half a Zan, 13 hours till I land. Had me out
Like a light, like a light, Okay, at this stage, I think it's about time I just Photoshop. This thing is still not tall enough for me. I've got standards like I'm on Tinder. I think if I just push this thing down a bit. It's lit. Now I have to remember how I turn this on and turn it off. So, reload. Okay, let's do a render. First, let's make sure our settings are right, so we don't sit here wasting time. So this should start kicking on at least here at this stage, which means it's not kicking on fast enough. Let's drop this down to 30. And I might need to bump it up to 0.05. But then I also want to make sure I preserve this area. I don't want it to start turning off the renders in the transparency. Cool, this is more what it should be going at. Yeah, this leaf doesn't look as great as I want it to. It's like not as detailed as I want. I don't think that's the issue. I also think it's the issue of the way it's getting alphaed. It's kind of alphaing in like a straight cut out line rather than just feathered off edges, which I could Photoshop an alpha that's more natural. Other than that, I think it's also just the material setup for this scene. So yeah, this is more of an optimized render, so now I can render it out. Just saved a minute or so. By creating a current freelancer website, you'll get it easily. I recommend Upwork. I haven't personally gotten a job of freelancer, but I've heard bad stories about it from other freelancers that I know. Fiverr, I don't know much about. I know of Fiverr, but no experience in it. Upwork worked well when I was starting out and I was just trying to get any kind of work to get experience in. Sanjar says it's beautiful. Thank yous. It's not really where I want it to be at the moment, but we'll see how Photoshop goes. I still think this background light needs to be dropped a bit. I need to get rid of the shadows under these leaves. I'll probably angle them in a way that the shadows aren't so intense, and they're also very reflective, which I might need to drop. I think I'll drop now. 0.5. And then I don't think I need to swap out the leaf itself. I think it's the materials. I might go in Photoshop and kind of adjust the diffuse and alpha map to something that looks more pleasing. This bottle looks kind of okay. I kind of wanted more of a harsh glow down here and more of a like reflection glow off the floor. I can add these in Photoshop though. That is still bugging me a lot, and I'm sure I have a texture that's better than that. I don't even have to use a metal one necessarily, just one that's elongated steel brushed. Is this what I'm looking for? This is what I'm looking for. That's at least better than what's on there now. What is on there now? I think I'm using metal matching lines. And yeah, you're getting these ugly kind of streaks. So what I need is something smoother like this, which I think I'll plug in a second now. I'm just waiting for the layer mask to render out. Oh, so we are seeing this gap here. I think the live view is just so small, though I do kind of want more of a shadow here. And I was also hoping, maybe I'll add it in Photoshop. I was hoping for a more realistic gradient going across here. It kind of looks diffused and artificial. I could add a black light that creates a gradient on the sides here, but that could cause other problems. Otherwise, everything kind of looks like a decent starting point. I think that needs to be dropped a bit. What is this? Floor ripples, this one. Drop it down to 2. Then we go in Photoshop. Oh, I also wanted to go and change. Let's undo the textures. Better change this thing.
Said you don't want it, but I gotta go. Sick with the flow like I'm sick with the cold. I got a bag, but I'm pushing for more. You getting bread, but I'm getting the toast. Little shawty on my side, and she know what's up. Said that you bought it, but no, you ain't tough. This song is a demo, your ex really rough, but we still gon' body. The track ain't no fluff.
I hate how this thing always resets. Should seriously just Google it and figure out how to get it to stop resetting like that. Now I need to figure out what the scale is, so I need to make this something more visible. Save, it's crashing. Oh, stop it. Stop it, Matthias.
I'm no longer routine. I got a 2-step and I walk with a lean. I took a few steps, now I'm back in the house. Snuck right in, I was quiet as a mouse. I'm looking for a wifey, you could call that a spouse. I might just start a family, gotta buy me a house. And I just hit the button.
I was changing this to elongated. Might not. Well, I guess I have to use this material. No, I need it. It's not very visible, which could be scaling. I need more contrast. So
the first time I seen that Ferrari in person, I said, yeah, I want that, I'm certain. This bus pass I got, yeah, this shit's just not working. The world sees me one way, I look in the mirror, see a whole nother person, fuck normal. If you don't agree, I ignore you.
that's not exactly what I was looking for. That
I meant for more, and of course I'll go get it. I did it, I feel like I walked through a portal. I'm here, I'm winning, bitch, look at the scoreboard. I score more, I score more, think twice. Are you sure you're more popping? Popping champagne, and I pour more, I get what I want, then I just want more.
maybe up the brightness, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5. Yeah, it's not really. I was kind of looking for more of actual lines going across. Very similar to what we had, but not such a mess. Now, sure, I had a texture like that. I've used it before. I might just steal one of these. It's kind of giving the effect that I wanted. We'll use the displacement. No, let's use the ambient occlusion. Kind of like that, but that's too round and perfect. I think smaller scale will be first solution, and then I might need to layer a texture on top. Smaller scale is kind of also, oh, that's not smaller scale. Yeah, kind of like that. I think this thing also needs a slight normal map, which it doesn't have. But this one, I'll use a normal map of metal matching lines, the one I was complaining about, but the normal map version, which is this one. I believe. So here I can get rid of the color correction. Oh, I thought it was going to crash there for a second. Go 20. 5. I don't think I'm making a huge amount of progress with this thing. Not enough progress to spend more time on it. So I think I'm just wasting time dabbling around. So I'll go into what did I call this thing? Salke. Salke? As I would say in South Africa. Okay. Firstly, I wanted this thing slightly bit more purple, but I didn't want to do it inside of Octane. And then background. Okay, we've got our pass of the can. Oh, that's not good. Maybe I can ID this number 6 as well, and then okay, I might need to render this out again. But if I'm going to do that, I think I want to just slightly adjust these. Luckily, the render isn't that long, so it's not a huge deal. If I angle these correctly, the shadows shouldn't be so apparent. Though if I render out a pass without the leaves, then I can just adjust the shadow brightness inside of Photoshop, because Photoshop is your friend. Kind of like that. Then I'll do a separate render. 2. I just wanna treat you better. I just wanna treat you better. Treat you better. Treat you better. Did this thing take 8 minutes last time? I'm sure it'll drop down to like 4. I think it just needs to get through the background and then it can focus more on the bottle. Gone down to 7. .630. I rate around 4 minutes 15 seconds. Ooh. 4 minutes. Oh, better than I was expecting. The power of render optimization at its best. I don't think it'll go much lower than 3 minutes. This is actually kind of better. Maybe with a little Photoshop I can touch it up. But it's kind of neater, should I say. If that diffuse button, denoiser button wasn't clicked, I would have been annoyed. The reflection on the floor isn't really what I want. It kind of looks like almost like a pattern going on there, which I'd prefer it to be smooth. Hopefully it doesn't crash saving, because I don't know why Octane's been crashing when saving high resolution images lately. Okay, let's crop it a little bit. Where's the crop button gone? This Photoshop toolkit does not look like the one I remember. Okay. I think I'll crop down a bit here and maybe in a little bit. And then -15. I think that's kind of what I was going for more. And then save it. Okay. Sissy. Pop in our new render. Oh, now what? Oh, it's because I cropped it. Kind of debatable if I want the old one or the new one. I think I can just... Cool. Now that back thing we need to fix. I've got the pass down now. %, and please sit in the right place. Okay, you're not sitting in the right place.
But I'm on a wish list. Yo, Rolly ain't worth shit. If it go tick tick, I'm from North Memphis. You can get your wig split. If a nigga talk shit, put him on a hit list. I be popping big shit, smoking on that Christmas. My whip cost me 6 bricks, gotta keep my wrist lit. Yeah, she wanna fuck me cause she saw what I'm with. Took the hoe and hit her buddy, thought she was missing. Bitch told me she loved me, but I wasn't even listening. Say she wanna take a trip, I dropped that hoe off in Memphis.
Okay, I don't know what's going on here, but hey. Oh, that's what's going on there. Lol. I'm trying to think. We'll add a spotlight in the back. Where have my controls gone? There. I kind of want to spotlight like this, and then just get rid of some of the spotlight at the front there. And I might change it to soft lights or overlay. And I want a bigger one. This one can go higher but thinner. And I feel like I'm seeing banding, which might just be my screen because my screen is a bit faulty. Yeah, it's my screen. Now these leaves should probably, I think I'll render out a pass for the leaves as well, so it's gonna be ID8 so that I can color correct them individually because they're too bright right now, and it's kind of hard to just decrease the exposure of them. And then I wanted to add a bit of a vignette. I can still see there's a line in the background, which I'll clean up now. Maybe it's best if I just clean it up this way. Nope. Okay, and let me just go into After Effects. I want to try something. I also need to create a shadow going down, but I also need it to interact with the ripples. So I might need to figure out a way to do that in Octane. And this leaf, I think, should move back a bit. I think I'll I'll do the lens a bit more wide angle so that the leaf kind of appears further back. So go to 36mm, and I should probably wait for After Effects to start before I open up the live viewer. If After Effects is starting at all. Okay, I can go closer now. Oh, it's too close. So I want around the same position, but a different perspective. It's weird because I want this back leaf further back and stretch, but I also don't want to stretch out this bottle too much. Maybe I can just physically move this thing. Let's physically move this back. And I'll also, in here, go 0.5. 0.8. I could make a separate layer of the original object and change the bend, but that sounds like effort, so something like that. And I think I should also give it a bit of roughness so I don't get these harsh highlights. Still too reflective as well. And I also want these things to bend a lot more, so let's get rid of viewports and let's go and adjust. Well, that's interesting. I don't know what's going on there, but hey, as long as it's not getting in the way. Okay, what's the best way to deal with this? Normal. Kind of like that, though I think the original one I still want maybe a little bit thinner. Not thinner, but not as wide. The wrong one. That one maybe 0.9. Then this I can rotate this direction. And then with a little Photoshop in the diffuse, let's do that now. I want in here edit. What did I call this thing? Self-care assets. I just wanted a gradient applied, like so, with soft light. Samuel, just found my page, cool to jump in live. Currently doing product renders as well. So glad you did. Appreciate the music too. Thanks, Diddy. Product renders are quite fun to do. I enjoy them. I said it's to the wrong place. All I wanna do is so that's kind of what I wanted, but opposite direction. So inverse and maybe double it. Still not enough. I might need to double it 2 more times, but I do kind of want it. Why am I even clipping this thing? Oh, that's why. Maybe I should do that in a group. Kind of like that, not necessarily photoreal, but looks a bit more pleasing to the eye. And I can see this thing's not really sitting on the floor. So I might still drop it down 0.6. Cool, kind of like that. And then because we have our passes of the leaves rendered out, I think we should do just fine. Let's do a separate pass for this lid because I wanted to color grade it. Might as well do that while we're here. So that means I can now change this to 7, but I think we already have a 7 and an 8, so we'll go 9. It's not really the most organized way of doing this, but I think it's fine. Render 3, and then back to After Effects. Ba, 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 ba. Maybe this is what I'm looking for, but just grayscale, also grayscaled. Not necessarily higher scale, I guess, just brighter.
Oh mate, love it. It's quality. Pure quality, bro.
I might need to adjust the individual parts to what I want.
Fergie, my bad, brother. I start again. What's my name? Why just ask my
Your name, geezer. The fuck the girl on the track, mate. Blindings.
And this I want up to 100. This up to 100. And I'm starting to see things which I might want to adjust in 3D. So our flare, hopefully I can just export this and it will apply. The same in Photoshop. Spelt project. The project's name is spelt wrong. Spelt lens wrong. Cell care. Lens does not have an E. Lens flare 1. So if I apply this screened in Photoshop, it should apply the exact same as it did in After Effects. Hopefully it does that. I should duplicate this, put this above, and convert. Okay. What did I want to change? I remember there's something on my mind. This color is still too purple and dark, which I should probably... Let's first import our render that just came out. And then I'll fix this inside of Cinema 4D. Did I change the camera angle? I thought I changed it back. Maybe I didn't. Okay, now I can fix this inside of Cinema 4D at least. It's funny, I've been streaming for 2 hours and 40 minutes and it's these days it's like, oh, it's only 2 hours and 40 minutes. Still got time. This graphic, now it kind of appears okay, but since it didn't a second ago, I'll just do it anyway. I think I want it to be brighter here, 75, and also more pink, so shifting more to 290, and less saturated, so maybe 8. That might be too far. Maybe drop this down to 70 again. 73. And then I think let's reduce this down to 0.7. Why you gotta say mean things about me? 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 Okay. I still want this kind of gradient back, but I think I can do that in Photoshop. So let me render out number 4. When I render out, I'm careful not to overwrite files, just in case something I previously had that was good. So this gradient I wanted, I think I can just do it on this file here. I can just do it in a glow, black one, maybe 50%, 30%. Then I think the glow I can do a separate layer, just remove the fill. And then I can kind of decide where I want this glow to be as well. I want the glow to be on the lid. But I'm pretty sure if I mask out this lid, it's just gonna glow more around here. Which is what I don't want, or is it what I want? It might be what I want. It's all a bit intense up here. How do I get rid of that? I guess I don't have to use the inner glow, I can use inner shadows from different directions. But I think I'll increase the size to 80 and then maybe decrease the opacity 70, 60. Kind of like that. Cool. Let's check our render. 30 seconds. Well, that's going as anything else that I was meant to do. Not necessarily, I don't think. Might add a bit of a vignette just so it's more focus on the center. And I think the best way, an easy way to do that, let's say, is popping a little shadow in the middle. I want a more contrasted one, and can probably apply this onto there, and it should work the same. This thing should apply now, but it still doesn't want to. Let's try curves. That is very strange. I can probably just... No. Okay, then I can just drop this to 50. Slight vignette. Still too much. Maybe click one more time. Okay, let's replace render. I think we're getting kind of close to finishing. I think I might do any like 10 to 20% improvements on my own time, and I thought I fixed this camera angle issue. Octane crashed, which is sick. That means it might not have saved the image, which is a bit frustrating. I don't think it saved the render. So I need to go back in here, I need to go close HDRI and open it again.
You know what it is. Four-wheeler jet skis, Puerto Rican waters, cash for foreigns. Call me Ashton Martin Lawrence. Florence the machine, hunt around machine of Florence.
Okay, let's adapt to something. Turn itself off. Get it back on. Let's take one final look because I don't want to do this again. Using the right camera angle as well. Okay. Should take about 3 minutes, and then I'll just do slight adjustments. I think any other adjustments I do will be like a 10 or 20% improvement, and it's not doesn't necessarily have to be streamed. When you go on WhatsApp at 1 AM expecting no one else to be online, and the person you've been avoiding messages you at that exact second. Gosh. Keep on calling. 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 Someone just commented on one of my first Call of Duty montages. I made this in like 2014, I think. He's like, nice dude. I'm like, thanks. What's so funny is when I get criticism for videos I made like 4 years ago. Like, you should go a little bit faster, or you should go a little bit slower. It's like, dude, you're talking to like a 17-year-old self there. I have so much of my life documented on YouTube. I think like 35% of my videos are public. No, 15 to 20% I would say, maybe. Or yeah. All the rest are just kind of private from like all the old videos, and I don't want to delete them because I sometimes go back and then kind of see how far you've gone. Some sick memes going on here. I also used to unnecessarily document my life very personally, so you can kind of see like all the ups and downs and all that stuff. It's kind of cool. Got so many gaming videos. I remember this one video got 500 views in like a couple of hours, and I was freaking out. I thought I was famous. Good times. Okay, this thing should get through the multi-passes in any second now. So any improvements I think I'll change. I don't think I'll do the floor, but the floor ripples do kind of, they could be improved a bit. And let's see what else. I think the shadows of the leaves need to be reduced. Maybe even artificially make them in Photoshop. I want more contrast in this area, and floor light needs to be dropped maybe 10%. The backlight there is kind of bright. I think that's like the big things. Maybe I'll think of something else later. Let's just hope that this render saves. And there's no other issues. I shouldn't have just... I don't know why this thing is so high as well. For some reason I've rendered my multi-passes. It's such a high sample rate. Probably did it for good reason, so I'll just leave it there. Well, my multi-passes didn't save correctly again, which is a bit annoying, but I don't think it's the end of the world. Okay, then let's see. I think improvements I'll start doing in Photoshop because I don't want to wait 5 minutes every time I change something. Okay, I do not want that to happen. That's kind of what I'm looking for. But maybe on soft light. And then also exclude from the lid. Then the lid, I think I got a pass for the lid. So you go 100, enter, and then position it correctly. I need to find a better way of positioning these things instead of manually doing it. I think these artifacts on the side is probably why I set the thing so high. Color range and mask. need to organize this project because I'm getting confused. I want this inverted. Okay, and then maybe the image overall. Also could use some punch, so I'll add that on top of this. I should probably add it underneath actually. So I need this actually excluding just the floor, not the actual product. So here's where it should be. Let's do it with curves, get a bit more control. So a bit down here. Then I'll crop in a little bit more because there's a lot of empty space. Maybe a tiny bit more. Kind of leaving room for text that I might want to add as well. I should make sure there's nothing rasterized in here that I'm deleting. I think it's all pretty much, besides this layer, which is the background mask, is all non-destructive, which is good. There's a bit of an imbalance with the scene. This is meant to be a bit brighter so it matches, and I think this background flare is also kind of bright, so I can apply an exposure on that and just drop it a little, and then I need to adjust the exposure of the leaves individually. So multiply. Stream suspended for policy violation. Oh. Maybe I'm streaming, maybe I'm playing too many songs. I've also never seen that before. Is it still suspended? I've never seen it do that before, so...
How you doing, young lady? The feeling that you're giving really drives me crazy. You don't have a play about the choke. I was at a loss for word first time that we spoke.
Be looking for a girl that'll treat you right. Be looking for in the daytime with a light.
You might be the type if I play my cards right. I'll find out by the end of the night.
You expect me to just let you hit it, but will you still respect me if you get it?
All I can do is try. Give me one chance. What's the problem?
It went black for about a minute. Maybe I was playing a song that was not allowed to be played.
You wanna get in my world, get lost in it.
Dark again.
Let's walk for a minute.
Promiscuous girl, whatever you are, I'm
everybody knows it, but you're not like everyone. You're not like everyone. Just a little too much. Place a little too much.
There we go. I think we're back.
Get when you touch. Feeling all on my butt. Feeling all on my rolls.
Are we?
Too much. Vibed a little too much.
There we go. I think we're back. Yeah. I think I was playing a song I wasn't allowed to. Yeah, I should be careful of that. It's never happened before, but at least now I know it's a thing.
All these people around us, they only wanna drown us. But I drown when I go down. When I go down, you sound up. Mason, I know how you like it, yeah. Tasting, I know how to bite it, yeah. You got all your favorite fragrance on. I'm just thinking ways to take it all lighting up on my blunt. She don't like when I front. Kiss the lips on her face, lick the lips on her give you just what you want. I don't wanna rush and say that this
I don't like how white it is at the bottom of these leaves. I might have done the soft light on the textures too much, but at this point I'm kind of over it, so...
I don't care that they whiten. Free love don't happen often. Life's too short to be kind.
Well, I'll turn this thing off and started sliding. Nothing was happening.
People had to find me here. Don't let go, no
Back again. Good stuff.
I got down my favorite fragrance on. I feel your tongue trying to take it
So I still kind of want this to be a bit more transparent and like more of a glow coming out this thing. I can probably just artificially add a glow on here. Maybe I can even duplicate this background glow. Ugh. Am I blind? New dodge, add screen. Exposure. What did I change? This kind of just changed the whole scene now. Let me undo this, because I feel like I've done something else. Oh. That's meant to be linked there. Expelliarmus exposure. Let's reduce that, maybe scale it down. So I want a bit of that glow, then I can just mask out these edges here. That's not supposed to be 100% like that. Kind of like that. It's kind of hard to see this texture, so that's also something I might try and deal with. But at this point, yeah, so at this point I think it's just the ripples need a bit more detail, and the leaves are kind of standing out in a not good way. They don't look soft enough. I think the normal maps are too strong and the transmission is too strong. So I think I'll just reduce that a tiny bit. I'm not going to render this out again, but just in case I open the scene again. So I'll reduce that to 1. I should probably reduce it to 0.75 actually, on both. And then transmission can drop. Not even that high actually. Maybe I'll drop this to... It's not the transmission actually. It's the... Which one of these? I'll do that for now. Then the next time I open this I'll render it out and then see what needs changing again. But I think we've gone far enough. Any other improvements I make will just be like 10% improvements from here on. This could use a bit of an inner glow. So I can duplicate this layer and just copy that mask because this already has inner shadow in it, or inner glow, and just change this to white. I don't know if I like this layer. So, not bad. It's kind of bright to the point where you can't even see what's going on in the graphic, so that's something I might adjust. But other than that, it's not all that bad. Kind of feel like changing the colors drastically though, like to like a different color in total. Background flare could also use reducing a bit. Or blurring, let's say. This reflection here is also kind of bright, which might be something I did in Photoshop. But that's just something to keep in mind. Let's see. I kind of like this spectrum section here, is kind of nice. I've done blue so many times, so I might not want to do blue. This blue here is kind of okay, and I think I like this like really pinkish color as well. I might like this pink better than the purple. Depends on if I'm looking like here, I kind of like the purple better. But if you're looking like where the distance you'd actually look at the product from, I think I like the pink better. But things are still kind of bright, especially here. That's what's bugging me the most, I think. Any last cropping I think I'll do is just slightly in here, maybe even just this way, and then a bit up and down, and then just to add like that little 5% of legitimacy, I'll add some text at the bottom that makes no sense. I don't want to say something that will get me sued. I was gonna add some copyright information, but that's not a good idea. I'll just do some normal text. Let's do product sans, and let's do enjoy. and they make it small, so small you can't even read it. Nicole used to do this a lot. Nikki HD. Text would always be super small. Maybe not at the bottom, maybe at the top. You can even put it like here. It's more of this Pepsi style kind of thing though. Now I'm just playing around. Probably do something weird like that. Then have something at the bottom that just has like the logo. Just say Salcare. Salcare, sorry. Salcare. I should really change that to care because all my project files are called Salcare. But I think we are kind of done. Any other changes I think I'll do in my own time. I'll blur this background leaf here just a slight amount. I tend to not actually do depth of field in product renders because that implies that your camera didn't have enough light, so you had to open up the aperture, implying that you have a cheap camera or bad lighting setup. So I tend to actually not do depth of field, but in this case it needs a tiny bit of unfocusing. And I also need to find out where to put this. I think I'll just put it above here. And then is it still suspended? Okay. Yeah, I'll look into it. They'll probably send me an email after every video telling me all my copyright strikes, so I'll see what the actual issue is afterwards. But you feel the spirit, whole flow, shine light, so glow. Every lyric skin cold, so most pull, fear it, 9 light rondo on my claw when I pivot, kind of like that, but I'd even probably just gradient the depth of field also, maybe. Kind of like that, and then maybe just gradient the other way. So it's a very subtle detail. Maybe increase that to 2. I kind of like it when it's blurred like that. This one could probably use a slight amount of blurring, maybe even on the floor as well. The floor? Sounded so American there. So I'll blur the floor. Maybe like 4. No, that's too much. 2. And then have a gradient. Where are all these tools gone? Gradient. Invert. These are just subtle, unnecessary details I'm starting to add in now. Cool, I think I'm done. I shall go sleep. But thanks, dudes, for watching. I'll check you all soon. This is kind of the third of the bright product renders, beauty product renders. Copy, paste. Do it. That's kind of a problem, which I didn't think about. I think that's one issue. This kind of looks cool, actually. An accidental, happy accident, let's call it that. So that's our thumbnail. I can probably just flip this way. And let's rasterize. I'm about to do something I don't want to do. Though I do kind of like how... What if I scale this up now? I think that kind of looks cool. Maybe I'll turn this off and just leave it like this. Or have this lower opacity, like 10%. Happy accidents. Then for our thumbnail, we'll merge into one and get rid of the seam. Okay, this is not working out the way I thought it would.
Lifestyle sweeter than a mango. Give it to him dirty like a narco. Venenoso. It's too wild in this country, ask Osho. I'm just here to do what I'm supposed to. Shit is out of hand and I'm emotional.
Cool, it's our thumbnail action.
To run and play him dirty like it's fever, huh?
Keep in mind of that sticking out there. Okay, I think I'll just go to bed. Otherwise, I'll just be up here all night. So, okay. Okay, thumbnail. Okay, I'm gonna change the thumbnail now and then I'll go. Thumbnail. Hope you guys enjoyed there. Oh, I'm gonna pass out. thumbnail. Oh, that thumbnail looks actually really nice. Maybe in the future I'll do like proper tutorials of these exact same projects, but like more condensed into like 20 minutes instead of 5 hours. Because this kind of looks pretty good, and there's blurry there, which is weird. Maybe it's just a rasterizing issue? It's not blurry here. Strange. Johan, I'll check you later, my duty. It's a nice thumbnail. Cool dudes, hope you guys enjoy. I'll post the project file on Patreon tomorrow. After I get some sleep. And then that was a lot more work than I was expecting. Cool, hope you guys have a good night. And I will see you later.